Brand new Metal Church right here on the Classic Metal Show from Generation Nothing, that is Suiciety. And I want to thank Kurt Vanderhoof for calling in and being very cool with Chris and I here on the show.
Like Kurt, man. He's good people, man.
Yeah. I love, I mentioned that guitar tone in the interview, and that song right there just is full of that Kurt Vanderhoof signature sound.
Yeah, dude, Vanderhoof is awesome, man.
I don't know what that... I don't know how to even describe that sound, but it definitely has his own signature stamp on it, if you will. And it's, it's very present in, like, Watch the Children Pray or, any of the other classics from old school. And it's just good stuff.
Well, I mean, like he said, too, man, it has a lot to do with how you hold the guitar and how you play it. And he's one of those guys, man. I wonder if he would sound the same if he tried different guitars. I'll bet he would. I'll bet if he played a Jackson instead of a Les Paul or whatever, he would sound pretty much the same.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It has I got to agree with MOL in the chat room. It sounds evil. It does. His sound is. He has like this. Almost like horror movie.
Has he mastered the tritone?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna play this.
All right,
right here. That. And I understand what he said in the interview, that he doesn't use a lot of distortion. Mm-hmm. So it isn't all like mixed together, so you actually hear each individual string.
Right, sure.
And that's what we're hearing. It sort of has that kind of dark sound to it.
Yeah, it is.
And then during that breakdown, it's right. I think it's here. Right here.
The cost has become so much greater than any's dying.
Right there.
It's now got control of my mind. The cost has become.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's
sure.
It's that same riff or sound that he has. It's just, and I don't know any other band that sounds like that.
He makes King Diamond proud.
Nice. All right. Well, all right. I just wanted to throw something out there. It's not much of a long discussion. It was just something that I ran across on Netflix.
Okay.
I like to watch the documentaries. I've been watching like the music documentaries, and how Netflix always throws suggestions up there. Because you watch this, we would suggest this.
Sure.
Well, one of them that came across my screen, and I watched it the other day, and I was just fascinated by it, only because I lived through the era, but I didn't really pay much attention to it, but I was aware of it at the time.
Okay.
I ran across a documentary called, what's the name of this thing here? Evocateur.
I don't even know what that is.
The Morton Downey Jr. story.
Oh, okay.
Now, are you familiar much with...
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know who he was. He smoked himself to death, right?
Yeah. Oh, he had demons, man. You can't say he smoked himself to death.
All right. And he had like ridiculously fake white teeth.
Yes, exactly.
I know who Morton Downey was. He's like a shock jock.
Yeah, but he was like the first one to really bring it to television.
Right. He was like a political-ish shock jock too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did social and political commentary, and his rise to fame was extremely quick. I mean, from the time that he debuted to the time he was off the air was basically a 24-month cycle.
Really? I didn't realize it was that fast.
It was only 2 years.
No
I
shit,
mean, he shot to fame like within weeks of debuting his show, but within months, literally within a 2-year period, he was already down the crapper.
And is he dead now?
He's dead now. He died in 2001.
Okay.
But I was watching the documentary of Morton Downey Jr.
Okay.
And this was the late 80s. His show debuted in 87 and it was off the air by 89.
Okay.
It was just that quick.
Wow.
But the guy was like uber popular and famous there for that short period of time, and I guess he made, some pretty good bank. Okay. But of course, just like anybody else who makes, a lot of money in a short period of time,
blew it all. Right.
Filed bankruptcy, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Living large, big houses, fancy cars.
Sure.
Living like a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
And, blew through all of it. And then, sadly, he had a lung removed because he smoked 4 packs of cigarettes a day, and then he died of cancer in 2001.
See you later, bye.
Yeah, basically. So I was rather intrigued or fascinated by the quick rise and fall of this guy.
Sure.
Just being a shocking guy.
Mm-hmm.
And, I kind of related to it, not because we go out and do things that are shocking, just for the intent of being shocking.
Right.
But he more or less opened up the door, along with like a Howard Stern,
mm-hmm.
For people who do things that are, for lack of a better term, uncomfortable or maybe just too real for some people to stomach.
Right.
Because last week with Jim Bartek acting as your co-host, and that's why I brought this up.
Okay.
There were people who were uncomfortable with the content of the show last week.
What? Last week?
Yeah.
What were they uncomfortable with?
I'm going to read the email here.
Okay.
But they did not like the quote unquote the potty mouth.
Of me or Jim?
Jim.
Okay. I didn't even notice that it was anything bad, but go ahead.
Well, it wasn't necessarily bad. It was just somebody who certainly didn't appreciate the input or the humor or the I don't know what you want to call, but
is it someone we know?
No, it's just somebody who listens to the show apparently.
Okay.
It's time for the Classic Metal Show to start begging for email.
What the hell is email?
Death sent me an email.
Well, when you figure it out, email me.
And here's your loser beggars, Neeley and Chris.
You've got mail.
All right. Well, we got an email in the Classic Metal Show request email box this week.
Okay.
About Jim's apparent appearance on the show.
All right.
I have listened to some of your shows. I like some stuff, like the shows that suck, because they play new songs too much. I don't know what that means because I don't think we've ever really talked about other shows that play new songs too much.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think we've ever really done that, so I'm not really sure what that references to.
He's listening to Wayne's show.
Could be. I mean, this could be. I mean, I don't know. It could be. Yep. But some others I don't care for. Okay. Just listening to your last show with a fucking drunk talk gibberish about all sorts of things, including trashing a great player like Thayer is a joke. His opinion is his entitlement, but we don't have to listen to his fuck mouth.
You're right, you didn't have to, but you did.
He is obviously just rambling off shit to make his sorry ass feel better, but it's not funny at all.
I thought that segment was quite funny.
Everyone knows Chris and Fraley can't play anymore, so they aren't in the band.
Okay.
Kiss sounds good in 2013 thanks to the new guys.
Wow.
By the way, I'm going to the Budokan concert tonight, and Tommy is going to blow Fraley out of his faggot costume. See ya, Tosh.
Oh, thanks, Tosh.
His name was Tosh.
Well, Tosh wasn't the only one.
Right?
There was Howard Tate on the Facebook page. He said, Neeley, if you take one more Saturday night off, I'm going to start spreading stories that you're Don Dawkins' secret lover.
Wow, got threatened.
The fucky effect was all over the place at CMS Studio 2 last Saturday. And that twat Nostradamus man deserves to be on the receiving end of a black anal gang rape because of his participation.
Wow. A lot of hateful resentment there.
I don't think people like Jim too much.
Wow. Well, what else? I know there's one or two more.
Yeah, there's one more. Let me find it here. Where I think it was to my personal one. Let me find my personal Facebook page. Okay, there was. Where's it at here? I know the guy's name was Kane Flannery, but I don't remember what he said here. All right, Kane Flannery, where are you? There was one more. Just Jim did not get a lot of love. All right, here it is. This was like a back and forth. Kane Flannery, who the fuck is this other guy talking shit about everyone? He is a fucking cunt.
Okay.
And I said, are you talking about the guest host from last week? And he said, yeah. And I said, that's Jim Nostradamus Bartek, the guy that listened to Priest's Nostradamus album every day for a year and a half. And Kane's response, that explains a lot.
Okay.
Love it. Yeah. Not a lot of love in Jim's world.
No. It's just funny. Now, on the other flip side, who was offended they weren't asked to be the co-host?
That would be Mr. E. the Stranger.
Really?
Yes. He hit me up during the week. He's like, what the fuck? You know? He's like, am I not good enough to be on a guest host on the CMS?
Okay.
And I'll give him that one because he has had me host.
Yeah, he did let you co-host on his show.
Yep, I co-hosted on Strange Ways. But and he's right about that. And I should have him on because he is fun. You know, and so the next time you're AWOL, I will have Mr. E the Stranger as my guest host.
Okay. Well, I hadn't seen him around much lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I can kind of understand why it might have slipped your mind or didn't occur to you to do that.
No, the truth of it is it was so last second. I mean, you hit me up on like Tuesday and said, "Oh, by the way, I've got this to do."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Fuck," you know, let me scramble. And then I scrambled to find somebody that was local,
Right.
Because I didn't even think about going to the whole technological aspect. And you know, when you're doing it real quick like that, you know, there's all the setup to make sure that the fucking sound works right and the connections and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me about it.
Yeah, so, you know, I just reached out and found somebody that could fucking be sitting across the table from me.
Sure.
So, and that's why I asked Jim if he wanted to do it. And I'd been wanting to do it with Jim anyway because he's fun.
Right.
So, yeah, I thought last week was fun, personally. I thought it was fun, and I thought it was a lot more musical conversation than we almost ever have.
That's true.
You know,
I personally didn't have any issue with last week's show at all, just aside from Jim not being up on the mic. But
yeah,
outside of that, it was, you know, it was good.
Mm-hmm. I thought so.
Claypool, I was mesmerized by the fact that Chris didn't get shit-faced. It was like watching a feat of strength.
Thank you, Clay.
It's you know, it's a little bit different when you got to run the show.
Yeah, and I'm not very good at running the show, so I needed every ounce of sobriety to run the music and the mics and the sound clips and everything else. So it was a pain in the ass.
You know what? That's the thing. You know, and I've let people let peek in on what goes on here, but up until, you know, until we actually perfected what we did here, I had to perfect the most efficient way to do the show and run everything within just a hand's reach.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I mean, you've been here to the studio. I mean, I've got a full board here. I've got 2 computers. I've got a server running. I've got 10 channels to run.
Right, you got 15 fucking CD players and MP3 things.
I'm running the telephone codec, and when I have mics set up in the studio, I've got four mics that I'm running. And so in fact, when who was it? It was either Billy McCarthy or Russ Dorff when they were here. He was just amazed. He's like, "Where's your engineer?" It's like I do it all right here.
Right.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to actually see it live is very different. And I'm not good at it. I'm the first one to admit I'm not very good at it. I do my best with it, but I'm just not very good at it at all. And I mean, you do it like clockwork now. And admittedly, when we started, there was all kinds of fucking fucky effect everywhere.
Exactly.
But it's you've mastered it.
Yeah, I have. I've got the equipment set up. I bought a studio console desk that wraps around me so I can, get to all the controls with both hands.
Right.
And, I can run one computer with one hand. I can run the board with the other hand, and it's just, you just got to pay attention to what's going on. And plus, I'm not the big imbiber that you are, so I pretty much stay sober and kind of watch what I do.
Yeah, well, I mean, I drank my share last week, but not a ton like I normally do, and I'm not actually drinking a ton tonight. Actually, I'm like 4 beers maybe.
There you go. Well, give us the lowdown as to what happened real quick last Sunday. Did you host that thing at Billy's Club at the Foundry?
I went, and there was like no one there. Billy's, it was a total stiff.
Oh.
So I just went and watched the game, and,
Nobody there?
There was like 15 people there.
That was it, huh?
Yeah, there was barely anybody there, but food was fucking good. I will say that. Billy is a cooking machine.
I guess.
He is. I was out at Billy's most of the day today, and again, he was a cooking machine.
I was kind of expecting it to be, kind of a big sports bar type turnout thing. I was kind of looking forward to maybe a story or two, but
dude, there's no story. You know what the story was? I was beyond fucking tired. I mean, I could tell a story, but so I went with this chick that I've been talking to for weeks and weeks and weeks, but had not met in person until this show.
Okay,
this day, and that was like the first meeting. So I met her, and I just had not slept in like days. You know how I get in my sleep jags, where I just don't sleep a lot.
Right.
And I was literally at the ass end of a 3 or 4 day bender of like 3 hours of sleep in like 3 days or 4 days. So I was about as sleepy as I could possibly be. I guarantee I was like the worst date ever, because I just didn't care.
Right.
If I didn't have to host this thing, I would have canceled. I absolutely would have. So we go out there, and I was just like, bleh, and the game sucked, and, and I literally called her up the next day to apologize for me being such a fucking dud. Because I just knew, how sometimes you go out and you just know you're a fucking dud.
Yeah, you're
don't,
just not Mr. Excitement.
Yeah, and I know me, and you know me. When I get cranked up, good or bad, there ain't nobody that doesn't know where I'm at, you know?
Right.
And for this one, I mean, I was just sitting there and I was quiet, whatever. So I call her up on Monday, and I'm like, hey, I just want to apologize. Let's try this again when I'm in a little bit better phase. I was fucking asleep at the wheel, blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh, no. This was the best time.
This is the first time I've been out of the house in years.
It was something to that effect.
Yeah, I kind of gathered that.
And she was like, this was the best time ever. And and I hate to say it, but my first reaction is, can't handle me. That's my first reaction, is if she was that enthralled with me on zero, what is she going to do when I'm all kinds of cranked up?
Right.
She's going to be fucking mortified.
Sure. You gotta realize now what age bracket is she in?
Mine. 42.
Okay. All right. So we're talking probably been married, housewife, something going on there.
All of the above. Has a kid.
Sure.
Has a Rolodex of ex-husbands.
Right. So it's like I'm glad to get out of the house for a change after years. So yeah, of course this is exciting.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm exciting radio guy. It's like, all right. Has heard the show though and was not fucking running for the hills.
Yeah, she wasn't turned off by it totally, yeah.
At least not yet. Now, we'll see how this segment goes.
Sure. Well, anyway, regardless of, a few opinions out there, I thought Jim did a pretty good job, outside of not being able to hear him.
Aside from you couldn't hear him at all, he was great. So, maybe that's why he was great, because you couldn't hear him.
So, Jim, next time you want to host the show, I'll give you a heads up at least a week and I'll prepare. You can prepare.
Yeah, Jim, you did a great job, man.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It was good to have a CM Longtan host the show.
Yeah. And Neely, I got to tell you, he was even sporting the Rex CMS T-shirt.
Oh, nice. He was in uniform.
He really was, man. He had his game face on, as they say.
Right. Excellent.
Jesus.
Well, Chipper says it's officially your birthday.
Yeehaw!
If you're on the East Coast, it's Chris's birthday. So happy birthday, Chris!
Thanks. 45 biggins.
Wow, look at you.
Almost dead.
Right. Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, this is Jim.
Hey, is this Jim Nostradamus?
It sure the hell is.
I had a premonition you were going to call.
Well, I just have one thing to say.
Yeah.
If Sayer doesn't like getting trashed, then tell him to quit listening to the fucking show. Does he not hear the beginning of the show? where it says, if you don't like all this crap, turn your fucking computer off.
Well, Jim, I appreciate the fact that you hosted the show, or co-hosted the show, so next time I take a little breather, I'll make sure and let you know ahead of time.
Yeah, you did a great job, Jim. Really.
Oh, I'm game. Anytime.
All right, well, we're glad that you stuck in there with Chris because I didn't want to leave him hanging.
Yeah, it was fantastic, Jim.
Anytime you want the Nos back, Nos will be there.
Well, so you had fun, Jim. Let's tell a couple of stories that we didn't tell on the air last week. So
okay.
Neely, Jim, of course, shows up with his own cooler of beers.
His own cooler.
Of course.
He doesn't want to drink my beer. He's got to have his own cooler.
Okay.
So
right.
I got to tell this one because it's funny as shit. So maybe 4 hours into the show, Jim is sitting there and he's like, God damn, my cooler's empty.
like it was a shock or a surprise?
He had no idea how much he drank.
I guess I should have brought a case instead of, I think I had 10 with me.
He drank 10
Fuck.
beers.
I guess 6 hours, I'm going to need a case, not fucking 10 or half a dozen. Fuck.
Dude, it was so funny because he was like, he thought I was drinking his beers or something.
Like the beer gremlin snuck up and took a few.
Well, somebody was drinking them, goddammit. I guess I was started a little too early, maybe.
But no, I thought we had a fun time, personally. I thought we had some good conversations. And
I had a blast. I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
Look at CMS Chipper, Nostradamus.
Oh, like I haven't heard that one before. Fuck you, Chipper.
So what was the response that you got from people that listened, man? I'm sure people hit you up and told you it was good or it sucked or whatever.
Well, I guess Bill had saw something on Facebook, and he asked me yesterday, he says, what the hell happened? I said, oh, we just had a blast. And I bashed some people, and some people didn't like it. So I said, fuck them. Do I give a fuck? No. They're a bunch of cunts.
Wow.
And I think it was probably, it might have been, I was actually thinking maybe it was Vince Neil that was listening, because we kind of trashed him pretty good, too. He's nothing but a dumb cunt, too. He can't sing anymore, worth a fuck.
Come on, he sounded good in that Highway to Hell
video. Yeah, I remember that well.
Did you hear that
know
segment?
the lyrics to Highway to Hell?
That's Vince Neil mumbles on stage.
Yeah, did you hear that?
Yes.
That was horrible. And it was Highway to Hell, man. A song you hear 300 times a day if you ever listen to fucking commercial radio.
Right.
But yeah, I had a great time, man. And then they can bring it on all they want. How much shit did I take when I was listening to The Street?
Yeah, well, that wasn't shit. That was like valid complaints.
Yeah, but did that bother me? Fuck no. Did it stop me or slow me down? No.
No. Your poor taste won out.
I still love that album.
I'm sorry to hear that.
But anyhow, I don't want to take up more of your time, so.
All right, man.
Well, thanks for
Hail and kill, fuck you, pal. Hand job and fuck there.
Well, thanks a lot, Jim. It's been great talking to you tonight.
Yeah, thanks for calling, Jim.
Jim, you're fantastic, man. You're a great co-host.
That's so great.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, don't be afraid of the mic, Jim. Next time, if there is a next time, don't be afraid of the mic.